Hi, welcome to episode 160 of the PassionKnit Spinner podcast. My name is Tracy. You can find me as Schnüffeltier on Ravelry and Instagram. I have a Ravelry group that is, not very active at the moment. I do have a Discord server that I will link in the description box below. And I do also have a Patreon, and I will also link that in the description box below. Now, it's the third week in a row and I'm podcasting. Really proud of myself. I'm really happy with that. So I also have a lot of things finished. So let's start with knitting in the past. I have 2 pairs of socks done. One you've seen last week, the other one you have not. So let's start with these. I finished the glitter socks, the glitter Christmas socks for my husband. These are a German size 45, which means that this sock is 29.5 centimeters long, which is 11.75 inches, something like that. It's a very long sock. I told you all last week about my dilemma with these stitches, and this one here is the one that is a bit tighter, but my husband tried them on and they fit, so I'm really happy with that. I did the up until the leg, the heel, I did the leg with 68 stitches and then did less decreases and finished the sock off with 72 in the foot. So they're now done. They are super, super sparkly. This is Hobby Christmas yarn, and I'm really happy with how they turned out. I did this one first, and after ending on the red, I didn't want to wind off all of this because I didn't know, if it would be enough, because I had already used a bit of this skein of yarn to knit, to finish a pair of socks for Tim. So what I did for the second sock is I just wound off the tiny bit of white between green and red and started the second one on the green. So they are kind of opposites, doesn't matter. They turned out really cool and he's very happy with them. So I can now put them away, and they are one of his Christmas gifts. So yeah, I knit those with 72 stitches in theory on US 2, that's a 2.75 millimeter DPNs. I did the leg a bit shorter than I usually would, because these are Christmas socks. He's gonna wear them once a year, maybe twice. So I didn't bother doing the leg longer. So that is the finished thing number 1. The next thing I have is another pair of socks, and they look like this. This is Opal sock yarn. I got this in a Opal abo, which is the yarn club that they do, many years ago. And these are the socks, and I think that they are really, really, really pretty. They are a gift also for Christmas. They are a German size 42. And yeah, this is what they look like. I did not wind off yarn to make them the same because I just don't care. I mean, with those commercial sock yarns, I just really don't care. I think that they are super pretty either way, and that is it. So these are knit with 64 stitches. Also top down, traditional slip stitch, heel flap and gusset construction on US 2 DPNs, like I always knit my socks. So this is pair number 2 for the Christmas gift box. And then the next thing is kind of finished, but kind of not. It's my Mega Lara sweater, and you will see why it's kind of finished. Can you see? It's not seamed and all the ends are still on the sweater. So I have washed and blocked it. I totally need to seam up this here because it looks horrible, but I can fix that. It doesn't really matter. And yeah, so this is what the sweater looks like. It's a bit see-through, so I can see what I'm showing. And this is the second sleeve here. This is the first sleeve. I did this one according to pattern. And I think I talked about last week how my the blue yarn that I'm using. I still have this much left, and I should have used this for the second sleeve, but this is very thick. It is a coarse spun, and it, you know, it's from very thin to super thick, and I just did not want to put that into my sweater. So for the second sleeve, I just used this yarn again, because it's only on the opposite shoulder. So I used it at the bottom again, and that is it. So this is what the back looks like. It's the same as the front. And when I blocked it, I just had to really laugh about this shape here. I'm not sure if I can show you, but don't you think that that looks like a butt? It looks like a butt. Of course, the color doesn't really help. Makes me happy, because you know, sometimes I'm 12 years old. So yeah, all I have to do on this sweater now is weave in the ends and then seam it together, and then I can show it to you next time. I'm really happy with it. I had 4 skeins of the gray, which is a 200 meter per 100 gram worsted weight yarn. And after everything is done, I have this much left, which is probably 30 grams, maybe 25. So I used not as much yarn as I thought. I have also this much left of this yarn, and this of the other. And for the blue, I would have had this here, this little leftover, and that 4th little skein of coarse spun yarn that I didn't want to use. So all in all, I did not use a whole lot of yarn. I think this sweater weighs about 600 grams. No, less, 550, I'm guessing. I don't know. It's very pretty. You will see it on me next time. So that's the knitting in the past. For knitting in the present, I have 2 active projects. First one is another pair of socks. It's this one here. This is a German size 39. The yarn I'm using is hand dyed from a German indie dyer. And I think she only sells her stuff on Facebook, but I got it from a local woman who had it. And this is how far I am on the second sock. And this is from Ulis Wollzauber. And the colorway is called Allgäuer Bergwiese, which means Allgäu, that's the region I live in. And like a wildflower field of flowers. And this is what it looks like. And yeah, like I said, this is the second sock. And that's the first sock. I did not knit this sock this week. And also, only one of these was knit this week. The other one, and this one here, I knit in the beginning of the year when I had my total freak out sock cast on. And I cast on, I think, 14 socks. And I finished all 14 of them, and then some second socks. And then I just didn't want to knit socks at all. So now I'm picking them up again because, you know, 4 of those pairs were intended as Christmas gifts. So the first one's done. Second one is in the works. So I have this one to finish and then 2 more single socks to knit, and then I'm done with my Christmas knitting. So I think this is a very pretty sock, don't you think? I really like it. So that's the first thing I'm knitting. It's like always on DPN's US 2. These ones are Jiaogu, and it lives in my Me Made bag. And that is this. And the other thing is a bit more exciting, but I have to reach to find everything I need. So I'm working on Tim's Christmas sweater, and I have done quite a bit of it. So let's talk about the whole theory behind the sweater. I'm using the pattern for this penguin sweater for the main jumper, you know, the construction of the whole thing. And this pattern is from Simply Knitting, issue 180. And then I'm using this chart here, which is for this sweater on the cover from Knit Now magazine, issue 95. I'm going to change up the chart a little bit to make those go in a bit further, you know, to have them a bit more spiky. And I'm about to start that. So last time we spoke, I was in the back piece somewhere. Where is it? Here it is. It rolls like crazy because when I unroll this, you know, I mean, this probably would fit me. So here's the back piece. It is finished now. I talked you through all of the yarns I'm using, and I didn't bring the green because I don't need it right now. So the back piece is finished. This weekend, I knit the sleeves, and I knit them 2 at a time. And if you've never knit 2 at a time sleeves, that's just in my throat just went really dry, one word to the next. Okay. If you have never done 2 at a time sleeves, I put up a technique shorty, which is what I call short technique videos. And I made one for 2 at a time sleeves, and I put that up on my Patreon. Jesus, that was hard to get out. Okay, so here's sleeve 1, and here is sleeve 2. They were knit on the same needle, and I again did the golden stripe in the cuff. This golden yarn, I mean, I did nothing with this, just knit it, and it unravels. It's the worst stuff I've ever used. It feels so but the kid loves gold, so what can I do? So front and sleeves are finished. No, back and sleeves are finished. And I started the front yesterday. I'm this far in, which means that I'm now on the next row. I am going to start the intarsia pattern. And the first thing for the intarsia pattern is the kind of flower pot shaped thing in the bottom. It's not a tree trunk because that would go out. This one goes in, so it's kind of a flower pot. And for that, I showed you last time that I wanted to use a brown, a dark red, and the gold, like a bronzy glitter yarn. And I changed my mind a tiny bit because I need the brown skein for something else. And I do not want to waste any of that yarn before knitting that other project. So something just went wrong here. So what I've decided to do, I'm still going to use this dark red, and I'm going to hold it double with this dark red. This is a Wollmeise, and this is a online sock yarn, Lana Grossa, I don't know. And I have this spool of sparkly brown. So these 3 will be held together for that flower pot thing at the bottom. So again, Wollmeise and Lana Grossa, I think. And this, I have no idea what this is. I think maybe this is from Drops, because they made a glitter yarn to hold with your knitting 10 years ago, 12, long time ago. And I have it. And I think that these 3 held together will give that flower pot a nice depth in a way. So that's gonna happen next. So this yarn here is from a packet from Aldi. And I got it in an estate sale, giveaway, whatever. And it is very hairy. I don't know if that will show up on camera, but if I knit with this, 5 minutes, I look like I rolled around on the floor in cat hair. I'm covered in hair. So I really hope that with the first wash, this all will just, you know, come out and stay out, because that is just a bit weird. So I'm not very sure about the quality of this stuff, but it is an alpaca wool acrylic blend, 35, 35, and 30 for the acrylic. So it is a nice yarn, you know, it's just a bit weird. So I still need to drink something else. I mean, okay. I hope that's it. So that is my 2 current projects. Sometime this year, I started getting becoming a bit more monogamous when it comes to my knitting. So I have 2 or 3 projects that I really focus on until they're done. What the fuck? Did I inhale some of that fiber? What is happening now? It just feels super dry. I'm sorry. Okay, move on. For knitting in the future, I didn't bring it because I still want to knit that reindeer sweater for myself next, but I don't have the time to do it yet. So after Tim's sweater is done, I will wrap my head around that one. For new stuff, I do have a tiny bit of new stuff. I got 2 skeins of yarn, and they are this. They're both opal sock yarn. They're from the new collection called Herbstmelodie. And I got this one here specifically to knit in a small knit along with 2 of my friends. We were on a Zoom call and decided to do that, and one of us already had the yarn, and me and my other friend, we ordered it while on the Zoom call so we could, you know, have it, and we will start sometime after Christmas. And from the same collection, I got this one because I just really like the colors, and I'm probably going to knit these for me and these for my husband. So yeah, got 2 skeins of opal sock yarn. And I also got books from Pom Pom Press because the new interpretations book is out. And I've loved the interpretations books since they started doing them, and I still love them. So in here are, again, I think it's 12 patterns. Yep, and my absolute favorite is the Virginia top by Hohi. And I want to show you what it looks like. It looks like this. It's a vest. And I think it is so pretty. So this is my favorite, and I really want to make it, and I want to make other things out of it. It's the same with all of these books. I get them and I want to make basically everything. So this is interpretations number 8. I have all of them, and I love all of them. And while I was there ordering stuff, I decided to get another book that I had really had my eyes on, and that is the Shetland Trader Book 3 by Gudrun Johnston. And it is inspired by the knitwear her mother had designed in the 70s. Now, as we all know, my aesthetic is basically movie cliché 70s librarian. So this is very much what I want in my life. And I just adore this book. It is so cool. She shows all of her patterns on 2 different bodies. So you can, you know, kind of imagine. And what I really like about it, and I'm trying to find a picture. Of course I can't. So when she shows the original from the 70s next to the new one. Now, are they all in the front? What's happening here? I'm sure I saw that somewhere. Oh, here it is. So here in the middle, you can see the original designs from the 70s and her reimagining the patterns. There's a very cool book. And when I was in the Pom Pom shop, they had this book together with this book at a super discount, which made this book come to only £4 instead of the £12.50 it usually costs. So I said to myself, you know, it's £4. Just get it. And it's a nice little book. It's patterns by the Fancy Tiger Crafts ladies, Malia and Stephen from Stephen and Penelope, and Isolde Teak, I think. So it's accessories, hats, shawls, mittens. I really like the shawl from Stephen West. I think I might do that with leftovers. So that's what I got this week. Moving on to spinning. I do have a bit more spinning. I brought my spindle bag. I made this myself. This is an old pair of jeans from my husband that I cut up and put into, I think, 10 different bags. And this was a leftover bit of fabric from my friend. And it is an IKEA fabric where I did some of that embroidery on, just to try that out. And I made this little spindle bag. So I did more of my ply on the fly spinning. There's a tutorial for this on my Patreon. And then I got all of the little bumpies out, and I have 8 left now. So I could probably spin 2 more onto this one. But I don't know. I'm not sure if I've spun 3 or 4 of those bumps onto this spindle. So if I add 2 more, that would make 5 or 6 and would leave me with 6 for the other spindle. And I'm not sure if that's not going to be a bit too heavy for me. So right now I'm trying to decide whether to take this off now and have 3 mini skeins, or leave it on, add 2 more and hope for the best, which would mean less ends to weave in. So it's probably what I'm gonna do because I'm lazy like that. Oh, the spindle I'm using is from 3G Woodworks on Etsy. This is a what was it? Buckeye Burl, I think is the name. And I really like it. It's a really good spindle. So if you are looking for a good spindle, 3G Woodworks, and that is the number 3, the letter G, like great, Woodworks on Etsy. Okay, what do we have next? Reading, listening, watching. I have finished season 1 of Grimm and started season 2 while knitting sleeves on the weekend. I've also finished season 13 of Criminal Minds yesterday evening because my husband didn't have time to watch with me, so I was on my own, and I didn't want to continue with the Chicago PD without him, and I just wasn't in the mood for medical drama. So I got back to Criminal Minds, and I've started watching, rewatching, and then newly watching Criminal Minds in the beginning of the year in January, and I'm now at season 13 is done, so I have 14 and 15 left, and I think I can finish those by the end of the year. Okay, now everything else, other crafts. Other crafts is first. I did more painting, so I'm not quite sure how many of these I had done last week, but I've done some more. I'm gonna take out my thing. Okay. So I'm pretty sure I showed you my pumpkin, which was my first experience with watercolor. The next thing I did, I painted this vase with wildflowers, and I'm really happy with flowers, you know. Those turned out great. The vase, not so much. I'm not very happy with that one. And then I tried painting a night sky with some birds. I feel like the further away you are, the better it is. But when I come up close, I'm quite happy with the birds, you know, but the clouds, yeah. I tried using a white gel pen for the clouds and the, you know, the stars, and I'm just not very happy with that. And now to the things I'm sure I have not shown you before. Next thing I did was this cactus, because I follow some watercolor artists on Instagram, and I've seen a step-by-step kind of tutorial for this, and I tried to follow it, but you know, I think it can be improved a lot, but it could also be a lot worse, so I'm okay with it. And then the next thing I'm really happy with, I made an advent wreath. The only thing I'm unhappy about is how not round it is on this side, but I mean, apart from that, I think this turned out really nice. So that's this. And then today I decided to sit down again in the morning because it was really dark out. It's still really dark out. I have to have lights on, you know. That's why we get the glare on the glasses. And I sat down to paint something I cannot show you yet. The other thing I did is this. And with this, I'm really happy with this. I think this turned out really nice. So what I have learned between this one and this one is patience. I was a bit more patient with this one, but today I really waited for things to completely dry before doing my next layer of stuff. And I made this, are they called rose hips? Hagebutten. I think they're called rose hip. I'm not sure. I found another, not really step-by-step tutorial. It was like a 1 minute sped up video on Pinterest for this. But I think it turned out really nice. I'm really happy with it, you know? Still can be improved by 1,000. But I mean, it's my, what, 6th attempt at watercolor. I'm really happy with it. So that is that watercolor painting for today. And right now I just keep them in one of those envelopes. And what I've done is I write the date on the back so that I can see, I still have to do that with 2 days. So I can see, you know, my progression in a way. I'm really enjoying it. I really am. And then I did something else. I did a bit of printing. I really enjoy lino printing. And I have carved a cat head a while ago around Halloween, and I did never print it. So when I did the other things I'm gonna show you, I printed this. So this is lino printing, the cat's head. This isn't in the middle. The cats are lino printed. And this here in the middle, it's the same as the snowflake. I made some more. So the snowflakes that I printed, they are, you know, some are better, some are not so good. They will become gift tags for Christmas gifts. And these here will be bookmarks. For this technique that I called printing on a budget, I also did a Patreon video. Sorry, I have to advertise myself. If I don't do it, no one will. I made a Patreon video on how I did this, and you do not need lino. You need to buy actually nothing really except for paint, and you can make really cool things. So yeah, I did these prints, and that's my crafting for the week. Like I said, I want to do gift tags, maybe use even the cats for gift tags, do some bookmarks, and have little add-ons for Christmases and my watercolor painting. I just have to show it again. I'm so proud of this. I'm really happy with how it turned out, you know? Really happy. So that's the other crafting I have to show. And that leaves me with everything else. So the first thing for everything else is this week we do have the next VKN. And I have no idea what date it is. It is Monday, the 29th of November today. And the VKN is this week, Saturday, which is probably the 4th. I think it's the 4th of December. I do not know for sure. Around there. Saturday evening, 9 o'clock Berlin time. I will put up links into the Ravelry group and also up on Discord. So if you want to join the VKN, which is open for everyone, if you want to join, just hop in, and it's just, that's all you have to do. So that's the VKN. And the other thing, do I have another thing? Mental health talk. So last week, I told you that I felt really well lately because I finally discovered what's wrong with me. And the thing is, when you have a mental illness in a way, you can overcome most of them in a way. Anxiety is a bit of a problem when it comes to overcoming or getting rid of it, because it's one of the basic human feelings, you know? It's responsible for your fight or flight response in your body. So getting rid of anxiety means getting rid of that, and that can be potentially very dangerous. So you cannot get rid of anxiety. You have to learn to control it and to work with it. And that is what I'm doing. And I think I'm making a lot of progress with that. So yeah, I'm really happy. I'm really just, I feel great right now, which in a way is an anxiety trigger, because, in the back of my mind, I have this, how long will this hold? Why am I feeling so good? What's wrong here? Surely this is a sign of impending doom, the last high before shit goes down. So I have to constantly try to repress that anxiety spiral before I put myself back into it again, which is a lot of constant work. But I'm doing it, and I am reaping the benefits of it lately. So I think that's a good thing. I just wanted to do a real short anxiety talk today. Yeah, that is it. I am done for this week. I showed you everything, and next week is the 6th, which is also the podcast anniversary. So I started this podcast 7 years ago, and a few days ago, I put up a video called Q&A announcement. And for my anniversary next week, I want to do a Q&A video. So if you have any questions that you want to ask, please go to that last video I did, the Q&A announcement, and put your question there in the comment section. That's what I would love if you could do. So if you have any questions, go to that last video, put them there, and I will do a Q&A next week, and then the normal podcast either in 2 weeks or a day later or something. I'm not sure yet. We will see. And until then, I hope you all have a wonderful week and a wonderful time, and I will see you in the next video. And in the meantime, enjoy everything you do. Bye.